Because I see reactions to this and people are like, oh my gosh, you see what just happened? And I'm like, do you see what happens every day?
These type of videos where people outrage, I think they become shocking because people, maybe Christians, don't want to recognize how ungodly the world is. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Things You Don't Hear in Church podcast. My name is Ethan.
And my name is Derry. And everybody, please go leave a review. Follow us on social media if you'd like to interact with us. We always have a lot of fun on stories, on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all those places. So go check us out, leave a review, like, subscribe, all the normal stuff. Let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Grammys.
The Grammys. I just think I want a Grammy.
I don't know that song.
Yeah, you do.
How do you know I know this song?
Yeah, that song.
What song is it?
It's a Drake song, Grammy.
I don't know Drake music. I'm like the worst person to know Drake songs.
Okay, anyways.
Those happened. The Grammys.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff happened. We're not going to cover it all, but apparently Jay-Z was talking about how he's making an imagery about him being Jesus, and Sam Smith, which was the subject of the video, is promoting himself as Satan with a bunch of people like humping around him.
Classic.
Yeah, if you're watching this with your kids, don't listen to this episode. Maybe not. Maybe listen to this episode without the kids. Because we're going to play a video that shows the dancing, and it's like...
Honestly, it's not as bad as most performances for the Grammys, like sexual imagery-wise, but yeah, it's interesting. So let's play it just to get some context and we can jump into it.
Yeah, let's pull it up here.
You can't dance. Don't dance.
All right, there's a little taste.
Little taste. So right off the gate, we can kind of describe what we see. So everybody, most of the headlines are like Republicans, but Christians as well are like up in arms about this and calling it evil, satanic. Obviously, the imagery is all there and all that kind of stuff. But
he's dressed up as Satan.
Right, yeah. So the whole thing, red theme. Everybody's got red or black on. Kim, I think, is the girl's name, is surrounded by like these women demons, and she's some kind of Satan figure.
She's in a cage.
Yeah, she's in a cage. And Sam is also like Satan with a top hat and like horns and stuff. And it's also surrounded by male demons and stuff who also look like the girl from The Ring. The whole time is all I could think of. I was like, why is the Ring girl and like the main demon? I was so confused, but it's kind of funny. So that's like kind of the premise of it. There's no real story or like evolving narrative beyond like they're in hell and they're singing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't watch the Grammys. Yeah. I don't pay attention.
I don't know who does.
Yeah. I don't really pay attention to any pop culture in general.
Look, the only time anybody hears about the Grammys is nobody watches it.
No,
everybody just waits for either the right or the left to get mad about something, and then we watch like that.
And then we watch
a clip on YouTube.
Right.
That's how we do it.
Right. Like you guys are here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, holy cow. So yeah, first off, is anyone surprised?
The song's called Unholy.
The song is called Unholy.
Like, did you listen to the lyrics? Like, I know it's famous on TikTok. Like, when I first saw the news article about this, I was like, oh, I wonder what song it was. And I don't like listen to a lot of pop music, but I started listening to it, and I was like, oh yeah, this song. I've never ever listened to the lyrics, actually. I just see it in the background of different things here and there in shorts and TikTok and Reels and stuff like that.
I didn't even know it was called Unholy. I heard the da-da-da-da-da-da, and I thought, oh, I know this song. And I was like, oh, it's Unholy. I'm like, oh, dang it.
Yeah, I was humming. I was like, oh, Unholy's the word there. I didn't get it.
Yeah, I was like, oh. So the fact that the guy who wrote Unholy and Take Me to Church is now dressed up like Satan.
I don't know if he wrote them, but yeah, he definitely performed them.
Yeah, it's like, is anyone?
It's not surprising.
Is anyone surprised? And okay, here's the thing. I understand it's good for Christians to be upset with unrighteousness. We should be upset with unrighteousness. We should hate sin. God hates sin. You know, we should. But why freak out about it when it's like, sinners gonna do as sinners do?
Yeah, I think there's a difference to be made between being upset that people are sinning and being surprised. And that's what I see a lot, because I see reactions to this and people are like, oh my gosh, you see what just happened? And I'm like, do you see what happens every day
like, man,
around the world? Like, you're surprised by all these things? Like, still, it should hurt you, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the difference that I kind of have to make in my own mind of like, we should be upset at unrighteousness, like emotionally, even though it happens all the time and it's easy to become numb to it and all that kind of stuff. We should be upset at it, but it shouldn't be surprising.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of the difference that I make in my mind.
The outrage of it.
Yeah.
And I think the outrage is because this is a new thing in culture where the TV is promoting these demonic things, right? So this is like the first, I'd say these last 5-10 years are the first time you're seeing all this edgy content being put on TV. You know, TV...
I don't think so.
I mean, back when TV started, the culture was a lot more mild. You had like I Love Lucy and different shows like that.
Oh, you're talking about TV shows.
Yeah, TV, like what TV puts on. And only in our generation has TV become this like...
Well, first time a ladybug has landed on our set. That's so weird.
Wow. Sorry, I got distracted. We had a ladybug fly.
Anyways, I mean, I don't think so though. There has been an evolution in TV, but like in the 80s, like PG movies, you could like say F words and show boobs. Like it's not a big deal in PG movies back then. Yeah. And so,
but
the rating system was maybe different.
Movies and TVs though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like movies you were buying knowing the content could be bad. TV is, we're putting this in front of your face and we're going to make you watch it unless you want to turn it off. And that's the thing, we like, I mean, I'm not, and we don't know why people are really surprised or upset because like Jersey Shore existed, you know, all of MTV existed. For
still exists.
Yeah, you know, like.
It's still going.
Yeah, not Jersey Shore, thank God. But they're like The Bachelor. The Bachelorette is one of those shows I'm like, Christians shouldn't really watch it.
You're just a hater.
No, I'm a Christian.
I like The Bachelor.
You do not watch it.
I watched the season finale.
You do not watch it.
I watched the season finale.
I've known you for 4 years and never have you said...
We've known each other for 5 years.
5 years? You've never said, you want to watch The Bachelor?
I don't watch it with you, but I watch it with girls.
You don't.
Yeah, I do.
Anyways, all that to say, yeah, the outrage for the demonic thing, or like, and no one's talking about like Jay-Z pretending to be Jesus either. That's like almost, I don't know if you can stay.
The imagery is less harsh.
Yeah, but it's
creating
maybe more blasphemous to make yourself Jesus and making yourself a devil. I don't think they're the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about that one a little deeper before I decide like, which one was worse necessarily. Because on one hand, one is like promoting that normal people should be like in cahoots or worshiping or excited about hell and the devil and those kind of things. And on the other hand, you have someone impersonating Christ. But again, I don't know what the rhetorical goals are of Jay-Z doing that. Like, maybe there's some kind of justification he has.
Well, isn't he a Satanist? Isn't he like self-proclaimed Satanist?
No idea.
Look it up, see if he is. I'm pretty sure Jay-Z is a self-proclaimed Satanist or something like that. I could be totally wrong here, so don't quote me on that. But if he is, and then he's making himself look to be like Jesus, that would be a big problem and kind of blasphemous. But, did you find anything?
No.
I thought him and Beyonce were like...
Conspiracy theories about the Illuminati.
Oh, that's not conspiracy. Everyone knows that in the Illuminati. For sure. Illuminati definitely exists. But...
I don't see anything necessarily coming up.
Yeah. I do want to think your point, though, of bringing attention or glory to satanic things. That's a big problem. Right now, obviously, blaspheming Jesus is too, but that's the point of the video. But yeah, dressing up like the devil, playing on this provocative song and dance where there's a lot of sexual stuff going on too. Like the dances are provocative on the girls and the guys. They're air humping. They're humping a cage.
You should like dancing.
That's not true. I like good dancing.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so what do you feel about it? What are your
I mean, my first reaction right now is like, why do we expect non-Christians to act like Christians? And it seems like that's the reaction most of the time of like, most people are like, how could they do this?
I'm gonna get a Bible real quick.
Get a Bible. They're like, how could they do this? Like, don't they know this is detestable, deplorable? Like, this goes against everything we believe in our culture and all that kind of stuff. And I think, like, obviously no. Like, if this was, like, Francis Chan, like, doing this dance or something, or, like, Phil Wickham gets on stage and performs like this, then there's right for outrage. Like, those people are Christians and we respect them and stuff like that. But And I wouldn't expect them to do that kind of thing, and they would obviously be rebuked if they did do something like that. But when Sam Smith and Kim, I forget her last name, do something like this, I'm like, oh, like to be expected. You know what I mean?
And also Christians saying, I mean, here's the thing: Christians being upset about it and being like, oh no, it's so ungodly. It's like, yeah, correct. Maybe don't let your kids listen to this. Maybe don't listen to it yourself. I really didn't know.
Hypocrite.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Not so with Sam Smith. We're not talking about J. Cole.
Okay.
But, I mean, if you feel like... The thing is, like, if you're really that upset, don't listen to it.
Yeah.
You don't have to listen to it. And when
they probably should in the first place.
Yeah, maybe not. But here's the thing. This is what Paul says. Our brother Paul.
Our friend.
Our friend and brother in the faith. Paul. What's it? How did they didn't use last names? Paul the Apostle, he says, I wrote to you in my epistle to keep
where's this?
This is 1 Corinthians 5, verse 9. I'm going to read through 13.
Okay.
He says, I wrote to you in my epistle not to keep company with sexually immoral people. Yet I certainly did not mean with the sexually immoral people of this world, or with the covetous, or extortioners, or idolaters, since then you would need to go out of the world. Right? But now I have written to you not to keep company with anyone named a brother who is sexually immoral, or covetous, or an idolater, or a reviler, or a drunkard, or an extortioner. Not even to eat with such a person. For what have I to do with judging those also who are outside? Do you not judge those who are inside? But those who are outside God judges, therefore put away from yourself the evil person. Basically what Paul's saying there is, look, you don't need to judge the non-Christian. God will judge the non-Christians. Our job as Christians is to not relate and associate with people who call themselves Christians but have nothing in their life to show that they're like being a Christian. Right? Someone who is willingly a drunkard and not trying to get better. And so like, I love Jesus, I'm a Christian, but they're like, nah, I'm going to sleep around, I don't care. I'm going to get drunk, I don't care. I'm going to steal from the poor, I don't care. Paul says don't associate with those people who are hypocrites. Now, if people are struggling and they're like trying to get better, that's a whole different topic. See, you see this on the camera, guys? Our little ladybug friend came back.
Nice.
But yeah, so Paul's saying don't judge the outsider. God's going to judge the outsider. You know, and he says you're supposed to go out of this world.
It's going to be on my finger.
Any thoughts?
I'm trying to get this
from any thoughts from our ladybug friend?
Go on my finger.
Those are actually, I think, Japanese beetles if they're orange and they're invasive.
This doesn't want to get on my finger.
Just flick it.
What's interesting to me, of course, I agree with what you're saying. We shouldn't expect people like that are outside of the church to act like people who are inside the church, right? And the whole judging Christians versus judging outsiders, totally great verse, love it. What's surprising to me also is I feel like for Christians, a lot of people get very mad about like LGBTQ news and stuff like that as well. And this lady, Kim Petros, or whatever her last name is actually a transgender woman, and she's the first transgender woman to ever win a Grammy in that category. So I'm not sure if that's the first transgender woman ever to win a Grammy at all, or just like in the category of duo performing artist, or I forget which category it was in. But that's like, I feel like that's a bigger headline than like a satanic performance. Like we've had hundreds of satanic performances, and every time it's the same reaction. You know what I mean? Like there've been like this isn't new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's every other day. I have a fun little list of a few people that I looked up real fast that I can quote from. First off, I didn't know, but there's a lot of just normal artists that have like publicly said they've sold their souls to the devil.
Of course. Which
is really interesting. Some of them were confirmed, so I'm not going to mention those ones, like bigger names, like some people in the Beatles and stuff like that. But Katy Perry and G-Eazy, for one, like came out and said they did. A lot of other people, I'll skip that for a while. And of course, we've had like the Lil Nas X controversy for a while.
Right.
There's controversies around Eminem doing some certain satanic things, like his album covers was like him going like this.
I didn't know that.
A lot of stuff about that. There's like the Nas X had the music video and the blood shoe kind of thing,
which he didn't get approved by Nike. I'm pretty sure he just did it, and Nike's like
yeah, and he got sued for it.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj freaking recreated an exorcism at the Grammys in 2012, so 11 years ago.
Yeah,
right. Crazy. Lady Gaga also performed a satanic ritual on stage in Belgium, I think, a while ago. So like, and these are just a few, but there's literally hundreds of like the mainstream musicians of our time just blatantly doing satanic things on stage. It's not new. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this isn't world breaking or anything. It's been a thing for a long time. Just think back to like our parents' generation. You've got like AC/DC and Kiss, and they do satanic stuff on stage every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
They
literally,
would rip the Bible up.
yeah, one of the most popular songs ever is "Highway to Hell." You know what I mean? Like, it's not like this is new. Like, the subject matter's not new. The performance art isn't new. Like, none of it's new. You know what I mean? It's just like a little bit shinier because it's this year.
It's a little bit more glorified in media, I would say.
Sure, yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, like the media is more approving of it. And that's where the shift in culture is really interesting. Now, I don't really have any more thoughts on that other than like, again, if you live in a world that's not full of Christians, you're going to have a bunch of people doing a bunch of ungodly things. And another thing, like, this is not new for humanity. Like, ancient civilizations would kill virgins and offer them to their gods on top of temples. Like,
pretty big deal.
And we're like,
I'll take a Grammy performance, I think.
yeah,
I'll take the Grammy
like,
performance.
no one died in the Grammy performance.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we know of.
That we know of, yeah. Who knows?
Shouldn't laugh about
But,
that, sorry.
Yeah. But, like, this is the thing. And really what it comes down to, and I don't know if you have other thoughts that you want to go in, but I just have one thought. It's like, when we look at the state of the world and we recognize as Christians like what our purpose is, we always come back to this idea like there are only two kingdoms, right? You're either serving the kingdom of heaven and God, or you're enslaved to and serving the kingdom of darkness, right? And the Bible says that those who are not saved are blind; their eyes have been blinded by the devil, right? Or their mind's eyes have been blinded by the devil. They're enslaved to sin. And they're going about as is their nature, just like we used to be until God showed up.
Yeah.
Right? So then we have to recognize, okay, when this happens, we shouldn't be surprised if we're like, look, this is their nature. As non-Christians, they're enslaved to sin. They're glorifying themselves, glorifying the devil, glorifying worldly systems that don't align with the kingdom of God. And that should bring us to a place of like wanting to see their salvation and praying for them, but also recognizing that, okay, this is the kingdom of darkness. And you're either in it or you're not. Watch. Don't put them on the microphone.
Trying to put the ladybug on the mic?
No, it's going to make them all.
Alright, I'll tell my hand.
Fuzzies.
Anyways. Keep going, sorry.
But I was just saying, there's two kingdoms. And you're either serving God or you're not.
Yeah.
And there's no neutral. And if you're non-Christian, and I was talking to someone last week about this, and they're like, well, you think I'm demonic. I was like, well, no, I don't think you're demonic. I think you're influenced by demons. You know, but the good news is that you can transfer your citizenship to the kingdom of heaven and repent, right? You can follow Jesus.
Definitely.
Having fun with our ladybug friend.
I'm just trying not to kill him. I'm trying to give off my hand.
Just shake your hand really hard. He has a really hard shell. He'll be fine.
Got him. Nice. Yes. To that point, I think the thing we have to do as Christians is when we see this kind of stuff happening in culture, which is every day, right? It should be more of a wake-up call to us to realize how much our culture impacts us, even subconsciously. Like, for us, we knew that song. You know what I mean? And we maybe didn't know the lyrics, but it still impacts you subconsciously, right? And so I just think it's on the individual Christian to realize what they're consuming, even subconsciously, and then battle within themselves, like, how much am I supposed to be taking part of this in my everyday culture? You know what I mean? Or even how aware do I need to be of the things that I'm consuming? Even hyper aware. Of course, not like being crazy, but like if a song like this is like on your playlist and you just like how it sounds and you didn't realize like the words in it and you're singing along to it, maybe you know the lyrics, but you never like cognitively understood the lyrics, it might be a problem.
Yeah.
Right? You might need to start examining the things you're looking at and realizing how much this culture influences you, because it's so easy to just kind of go on autopilot and love the Lord, read your Bible, all those kind of things, and just these things slowly creep into your life if you're not paying attention. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things slip into your life if you're not paying attention. And I'm usually on like the more chiller side of like letting things slide a little more and not making things as big of a deal. But I think it is really important in our lives to be aware of what we're consuming, because it does change how we act and how we think, even if it's subconsciously. And a lot of little subconscious actions can lead to like major life changes and changes in what we think, how we perceive things, just by how we're subtly influenced by our cultures. And all of us, we can't deny that we are influenced by our culture because it's all around us. And our cultures can be different based off of subcultures that we're part of, like your church or whatever kind of music you listen to, or if you're a part of a D&D club somewhere, or you play badminton. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like you're influenced by your subcultures, but everybody is influenced by like the mainstream culture. You can see this because, especially for us, when you travel a lot, like you travel around the world for business things. You know what I mean? When you travel around the world and you start going to Thailand and you start going to like these other places and you start to realize like, oh, the youth of these cultures are starting to become a lot more like the youth in where I live and a lot less like their parents were when they were youths, embodying the culture of where they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there are obviously still some cultural zeitgeists in there and stuff like that, like the way they think and act in certain traditions and stuff like that. But you can clearly see that our culture, or just like the global culture, because of the internet and because of video, and we all have the same apps for the most part in the most places in the world.
Yeah.
Like everybody is getting fed the same subliminal messages, and so a lot of our culture is becoming synonymous in a way
like
with
a one world government.
Yeah, kind of. But
oh my god,
this is great for Christianity on one hand because it's easier for us to get our message out to the world. You know what I mean? There are also some drawbacks to it too, but we need to be aware of how culture is affecting us because it's affecting the rest of the world too. And we're not supposed to look like the world, right? And it can be very easy to start to look like the world in that way.
Yeah, and I think this also, these type of videos where people outrage, I think they become shocking because people, maybe Christians, don't want to recognize how ungodly the world is. And so maybe they live in their Christian bubble with their Christian community and they talk about good Christian things and they turn on the TV and see this and they're like, oh, it's so demonic, and they're overwhelmed. It's an emotional response of like, I'm overwhelmed by like the outward evil in the world. But the reality is like there's far worse evils that happen every single day across the world.
Yeah.
And the response is not shut it out, close my eyes, la 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 la, I don't want to hear it. The response should be in prayer, asking God to forgive the sins of the ungodly and save them. You know, like slavery in today is higher than it's ever been in the entire world. You know, there's like people outraged on watching this performance on their iPhones don't realize how their iPhones are made. They would probably be outraged to know that.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think it's like
we're recording on an iPhone.
Yeah, we're recording on an iPhone and a Mac.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's a complicated subject. But it's like, yeah, you got to recognize the world is very evil. And that's kind of drives you to the position of being before God where it's like, oh, yeah, God is my only hope. God is literally like probably it's the only truest good I can find. Not probably. It is the only truest good I can find. And everything this world offers me is going to be like tainted in some form or fashion and ultimately evil because it's not from God. And so if you recognize how bad the world is in like a mature sense, and you don't let that overwhelm you, don't let it depress you, don't let it like throw you off. You know, you're here, you got to live with it, but you can influence it. It also gives you reason to expand the kingdom of God. It also gives you reason to pray for the nations, reasons to share the gospel with people because you want to see the evil dwindle. And you guys can do this. Like, you guys can have a huge part in seeing the evil dwindle by just, you know, talking to people and sharing your perspectives and sharing the gospel and introducing them to Christ.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me to think about what people outside of Christianity think about performances like this. Because obviously there's a cultural understanding of good and evil that I think we all have no matter what. And for a long time in our culture and a little bit in the global culture, like Satan has been associated with evil and God, Jesus, you know, like whoever that like man in white character is for a lot of like the pictures.
Did you
and
say white
stuff.
Character?
No, man in white.
Oh, okay.
Character. You know, like there's always like the glowing guy in white and then the like the evil red guy. You know what I mean? Like that's been sort of the like cartoon like version of good and evil for a lot of different cultures, and definitely in our culture, right? And so it's interesting. I wonder what people outside of our like subculture of Christianity think when they view this, because there's still the association of like, oh, this is supposed to be embodying evil, but I'm also celebrating it. So is it a liberating thing? But what does this mean about my morality in general, or even the idea of morality in the first place? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who aren't Christian who are kind of iffy about it as well. I'd love to hear their opinions on it. Because some people, I'm sure, are like, awesome, let's do it. Maybe there's some kind of subliminal message they like that they're seeing that I'm not seeing in that, of some kind of liberation or something that just I haven't heard the interview on, or something like that Sam Smith has said, or all these kind of things. But it's just interesting to me how, from a non-religious standpoint, or a non-Christian standpoint at least, you know what I mean, what these people think about all these satanic performances over the last 30 years that we're aware of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's interesting to me to think
I don't know. Would anyone say, other than like maybe people who are into it, like Satanism, would anyone say and approve, like, oh yeah, this is awesome, I'm happy that they're doing this? Maybe for the most they would say
sure.
it's like freedom of expression.
No, they wouldn't say it's freedom of expression. I know a lot of people who are like, yes, this is awesome. You know what I mean? And the image, the imagery is that, like, this dichotomy of heaven and hell and Satan and God, especially under Christianity. Christianity has oppressed people, and so by acting as the Satan figure, you're rebelling against the oppressive, like, religion that has, like, weighed LGBTQ, I can't even say it.
That's all right.
People down. I always say it off camera right, and I never say it on camera right. Has like weighed those people down and oppressed those people, and so by acting out in this way, you're actually like liberating yourself from the oppressor in a kind of a way. And so that makes sense to me. You know what I mean? Like that imagery, that message makes sense to me. But I know that there are deeper and more nuanced forms of communication within those as well that people understand that I don't understand or have been communicated to them. And I would just like to hear those explanations from people.
Yeah. I guess I just don't give people that much benefit of the doubt. Where I'm like, look, if almost in every religion that has... Actually, no, not almost. Every single religion that is a monotheistic religion, Satan is the bad guy. Satan embodies in our culture evil. Like he represents evil. And so to dress up as that, I think identify as yourself with that and to promote it is like, yes, this. But also for Satanists, they think, like, genuinely, Satanists, some either Satanists, there's two types. One type of Satanist only lives for themselves, do what thou wilt is their biggest command. Right. The other type genuinely thinks God is a bad God, like Jesus is an evil God, and Satan's trying to liberate us. And so they follow him because they think that's why he was like in prison, because he was like trying to like create a civil war almost and overthrow the oppressors, and he's the good guy actually. Which
it takes a lot to believe that.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
Yeah, I bet there's less people who believe that.
Yeah,
the Satanic Church.
Yeah, but it's like either way to align yourself with that is because people know this whether they're Christian or not. God, the Creator, always is seen to represent good. Now, if you have bad experience with Christianity or religion, you think Christianity is a white man's religion that oppresses people, even though you're wrong. You know, like
it has oppressed some people, but yeah, not a white religion.
Yeah, but it's not a white religion. Yeah. Totally Eastern. But yeah, you think like even those people know in culture God is supposed to represent good, and so if you're using the enemy of that and of God and promoting that, then it's like, oh yeah, this is like, I think there's an agenda that they're trying to promote.
Yeah, there definitely could be an agenda they're trying to promote, and I think it's different based off of who's doing the performance. I think at times there are people who genuinely like the imagery and are trying to promote the Satan figure for religious reasons. But I also think a lot of people, when they receive the message, interpret it through like a post-religious lens, right? Where these things don't represent God and Satan anymore. They represent cultural ideas, right? Of like what Christianity has done, or like what is good and right, and like it feels good to be bad, so I'm gonna be bad. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I was gonna be really cheeky and be like, Christianity's done like, you know, established great hospitals, universities, orphanages. But keep going.
The ladybug is inside of our light now.
Aww.
Hopefully it lives.
Yeah, that's it.
Anyways, so I think it can be communicated in a way where people can understand it within their own lens, which is, I guess, every form of communication. So it seems like some of the performances are definitely like Satan good guy, Jesus bad guy, right? And from a very religious perspective of like, this is what whoever's putting on the performance or whoever's behind it, whether it's the artist or it was given to them as a performance, right? Or created for them as a performance. Whether it's communicated that way, and that's how people take it or not, is kind of up to the person receiving the information. And I'm sure different people take it however their lenses or whatever lenses they're using. And it's used for both instances of both kind of an I don't know how to say that, anti-Christ like rhetoric, or if it's just like a philosophical statement of freedom or liberation or whatever. If it's used for both, no matter what, it's anti-Christian. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing, baseline, like, I just am not convinced that Sam Smith or whoever choreographed the dance is
Sam
just...
Smith.
Yeah, he didn't choreograph
Someone got paid a lot to choreograph it.
Yeah. I'm just not convinced that the person who choreographed this is just, like, purely philosophically minded with no cynicism and is just like, oh, this would be a cool idea. I'm like, dude, come on. Like, you're going to be that explicit with this? Like, you know what you're doing. That's how I feel, at least. And I'm not convinced that these guys are just like accidentally like, oh, I didn't mean to make it seem like we're glorifying Satan. I'm like...
I mean, they're doing it on purpose. Yeah. But imagery is powerful, you know? And even if you don't believe in the religious aspect of the imagery permeates within culture and it gets a reaction. And so by using that kind of imagery, one, you get a reaction from people and you get a lot of people to watch it. And
what's the reaction
you communicate your rhetorical goals.
What's the reaction they're looking for, though?
They're just looking for any kind of reaction to make it more popular. Like, we're talking about this. A lot of groups that would never have talked about this are talking about it because
they're saying purely like controversy.
Because they use the Christian imagery. A lot of it is controversy. But it's also very easy to communicate very understandable, widespread goals with such popular imagery as Satan and hell. And
yes,
stuff like that.
But I guess I don't see the liberation as like the popular goal there. I don't see liberation in that.
Well, yeah, of course, you're a Christian.
Yeah. But I don't know how
But in a post-religious world where most people aren't Satanists, like, that's probably what it's communicating in my mind.
Yeah. I guess I just don't...
Because how many people are becoming Satanists from this? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean...
Nobody. Almost nobody.
How many people are... and Gen Z is, like, super into witchcraft. How many people are looking more into witchcraft because of that?
Yeah, but their version of witchcraft is like, we love the earth.
I don't know. There's, like...
I have a lot of witch friends.
Yeah, but that doesn't speak for the whole group.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm
sampling, sure.
Sure, yeah. From all of the friends that I have that are witches, they're all green witches, and they're all like want to protect Mother Nature.
What's a green witch?
They're just protecting Mother Nature and that kind of stuff. We can do another. We'll do another episode on.
What is? Yeah,
we'll do another episode.
Do they talk to spirits?
I don't know. They do spells.
Yeah, that's dealing with demons.
Oh, sure, yeah, but it's not what you were saying though. Here's the thing. Like, they're not witches in the sense of they're worshiping Satan.
Well, not intentionally.
They're witches to connect with Mother Nature, and Mother Nature is like the power that they're using. That's what the popular
worshipping.
That's what the popular.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. If I was going to talk to a green witch, I would say you're still worshiping Satan. You just don't want to call it that.
Of course they are, but that's not what they think.
Yeah, that's okay. They're wrong.
Okay. Nice. A couple reactions real fast before we head out, and I asked Ethan what the hardest question he's ever faced in Christianity is. A couple reactions I thought were funny. Of course, all of the right-wing media lost their mind. Ted Cruz, all those guys said a lot of things. What was really funny?
Morally upright people lost their mind.
Yeah. What was really funny about that is there was a ton of outrage posts about it with a lot of really funny dad jokey kind of titles. The only one I copied and pasted was "Politicians raise hell over unholy performance." Just so stupid, but
that's cute. That's funny. Raise hell.
Yeah, there was just a lot of stupid ones like that.
Yeah.
One kind of more grim one was CBS posted in response to the performance after the performance. They said, "We are ready to worship," which is pretty blatant.
Guys.
What? Yeah, pretty blatant.
Guys.
They're like, "We're ready to worship" after the performance. So the performance happened, and then they're like, "All right, we're ready to worship."
Oh, guys, could it be any clearer?
That's pretty crazy.
Why are you guys watching mainstream news if you are? Could it be any clearer? The media is not on your side if you're a Christian. The media does not want Christians to succeed. It cannot be more clear, guys. We're in a war. That's what. You're in the kingdom of God or you're not. And we don't need, we're supposed to treat our enemies with love. So I'm not saying like to blast people on social media and be rude. It says to like do good to those who hurt you, pray for those who persecute you, and like go the extra mile. You know, Jesus always did like so much love for people who were his enemies. So as we conclude this episode, guys, go and love those people that you want to be outraged at. The Bible says if you do good to your neighbor, keep burning coals on his head, which is kind of funny because it's like you're doing it out of love. You shouldn't do it out of like I'm gonna be nice to you because this is gonna troll you, right? And you're gonna hate it. Yeah. That's not loving. Let your heart be like, man, I really want you saved.
A Jonah attitude.
A Jonah attitude, yeah. You know, but do good to those who hurt you, love those who persecute you, and pray for those who oppress you.
Yeah. Lastly, the Babylon Bee. They said that it's like a quote. It's like a picture of Sam Smith with like the horns on, and it's him saying, "Horrified, Satan distances himself from the Grammys." Because Satan was so horrified at the performance. Babylon Bee. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We haven't done a solo episode in a while. We're probably gonna do quite a few more in the recent weeks, most likely because of some upcoming circumstances. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We love you guys. We love your comments, your interactions. So give them to us.
All right, shoots, guys. See you next week.
Shoots.